Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thursday Live coming to you from For the Love of Dragons. Hello, hello. So Araya here. For those of you that don't know me, we've got always new people in the group every week, which is exciting. More dragons finding their home in the lair. And so I'm here to answer questions. That's what I do every Thursday. And I had some great ones come in this week. So if you have questions as you begin your work with the dragon, maybe you're just starting your journey with the dragons, feel free to message or email me, because this is where I get the things that you want to talk about. Every Thursday I come on live to discuss what interests you, what can help you, so that we can actually move everybody forward. And I had some great ones this week about the angelic realm. And I'm going to say, Linnell, can you hear me okay? Leanna in the Big Island is having a hard time hearing me. Yep. I think it's on your end there, Leanna, because everything's the same on my end, and I've got other watchers that are able to hear me. So want to go into these questions. They're common ones. I've answered a couple of them before in past lives, but it's always good to have the information fresh, especially if you aren't digging around in the archives of the YouTube channel or the group. And I do encourage you, if you're not aware that I have a YouTube channel, every week when I do a live, you can find them in the archives of the group, but you can also go into the YouTube channel. So if you do a search on Invoke Healing, I've got my own URL, and it will pull it up, and there's a dragon playlist. And there are, gosh, I think over 100, we've been doing this for 2.5 years every week. So there's a good catalog of dragon information in that place. And what's cool about it is that every week there's a date and the subject, and then a description, and the subject line usually talks about the question that I'm addressing, or the subject. So you can flip through very quickly and find things that are coming up for you right now in your journey, and have a database of my questions answered right there for you. That's really my goal. I'm here to continuously give you tools. I'm so excited that so many people are taking advantage of the new meditations that I made available and posted about last week. The French versions are coming, just waiting for the sound production. I've already recorded them in French. But the black, the white, and the crystal dragon, those energies are prevalent right now. And I don't know about you guys, but today has been, it's like whirlwind energies. There's chaotic, there's like uprooting, blah. I don't know, this churning energy today, which is making it feel like we're in the middle of a storm, in the center of like, whoa, what is flying on around us? And here I am. So take advantage of the time that we have, especially with what's going on around the world. We've been talking about how this is the reset button. This is our point of stillness. There's a lot happening in all of your bodies, all of your energy bodies, that needs to reset. If you don't give it the time to, it's going to be that much harder for you to integrate. So just as an example of myself, the other day I had some sessions after a big group meditation with my ongoing Dragon Hearts, and by the end of it, I felt it coming on. It was like this heaviness, this, you need to just stop, you need to lay down. There's all kinds of stuff on your desk, don't deal with it, go lay down. And I laid down, I almost couldn't avoid laying down, and I literally was out for an hour. Straight to the minute, like an hour, and then my eyes popped open, and I was like, okay, now I can move on. But if I'd tried to go do anything else during that hour, it would have been like drawn out trudgery. So take advantage when you're feeling that, and just honor your body. Whether it's 20 minutes, whether it's 3 hours, your body needs it, and that's priority right now, because we're doing a lot of resetting inside the templates of our bodies. So we keep talking about new earth, new templates. What is this shift going to? And Gaia is resetting her templates. She is always mirroring our journey. We are always mirroring her journey. There's always the macrocosm, microcosm going on. So if we are mirroring her journey, and we know that she's setting new templates, can we then understand and realize, oh my gosh, I'm resetting new templates too. What does that take to do? That takes a huge pause. Look at the pause that Gaia has demanded for her to reset her templates. She's demanded being able to breathe clean air. She's demanded, like, just stop, so that she can reset. So we need to do the same. So if your body isn't encouraging you to let it sleep or rest or just stop, it might only be 20 minutes that you need. Might be 3 hours, but that 3 hours is more critical than any other errands or things that you think you need to go get done. because that reset. So just allowing, breathe deeply, breathe into it, and sit in the stillness. All kinds of chaotic, because the reset, I realized today, roots are being pulled up. If we need to reset into a new template, then our whole grounding structure is also going to shift. We're going to be pulling our grounding cords up and our roots up out of this system and putting them into a new one. And we've got to learn how to do that. We've also got to be willing to do that. And I guarantee you, where the places are that you have roots down, that you don't want to pull out of the ground, that you don't want to like leave behind, it's going to force an issue. It'll either be ripped out or you won't go forward. So be aware, what anchors are you carrying? What can you release? So going into today's questions, so I want to encourage you, just before I do that, take advantage of the new meditations. Super powerful, and they're meant for this. Like, I pushed myself to get them out in like a week and a half time, which was incredible. Like, usually they take 8 to 10 months, and I got them all recorded and got them off, and amazingly the sound guy had time, because the black, the white, the crystal dragon energies are really what we need right now. The crystalline especially. If you can only go in and afford one, get the crystalline, because those are the templates that we need to reset ourselves, and that's going to really help. But in this journey forward, you're still having a lot of mental questions. You still have to get the answers and release into, like, all right, now that I know that, I can just let go and trust the process. Trust the unfolding. Hello, Lori. Good to see you. So these questions came from someone who is a dragon, and he contemplates a lot of things, and 2 of them are about the angelic realm, so I wanted to really address that. The first is, there are some who say the Seraphim beings are actually dragons, those who guard the throne. Any insights? And then the second one is Elohim and dragons. Can you talk about Elohim and the potential of them taking form as dragon? As in saying, is that even possible? So let's start with the Seraphim, because I've talked about them before. Way back, I remember someone bringing that question up, and I didn't even know what the word was. I knew it had to do with the angelic realm, but I read on the internet, and this information is out there, that they have been considered to be dragon form. That really resonated with me and felt right. And when I look at the structure and the making of this realm, of this universe, that yes, God created it, but there were many beings that came, but predominantly from the dragon realms, to be the volunteers to hold it in place, to set up the grids, to set up the geometries. They're specialists in that. And they're specialists in service, and they volunteer to be the ones to hold the setting. And that's why we're still here, until it can graduate and go on to its own, and then we will be released. And so it would make sense then in the hierarchies that these dragons come from a realm that's extremely high frequency. I would say the majority of them I experience are 22nd dimension or octave. I use those words interchangeably, or higher. So coming from the dragon realms, which is one of the original ones created, down into this density place to hold this in place, and setting up a structure, because there has to be a hierarchy of governance, and there has to be a hierarchy of the spiritual realm place, so that human bodies born and would go into the heavenly realms that are part of this, that there would be octaves of learning, that whether you stay in body or not, or you go into learning in the etheric realms, in what are considered the hells, the heavens, the angelic strata, in that as you graduate through that, then there would be higher and higher levels of access to frequency, to unconditional love, that frequency of love, because that's all that is. The differentiation between different strata or dimensions are the element of love within it. How much more loving choice can be made, how much more unconditional can that love be in association with what is known as God's pure, unconditional divine love. So the higher strata of that being set up and held in place by the Elohim and the archangels. Elohim being those that oversee the larger cosmic, the archangels being those that are in the highest hierarchy of this spirit realm, of this plane, of this earth plane, which is the heavens. And even in that, Michael, Melchizedek, and Metatron are associated directly with dragons that are in this plane, the black, the white, and the crystal. Coming to understand fairly recently that they're not just separate beings. They're actually much more connected than I've been able to see or understand before. So if they have this very deep dragon connection in the hierarchy of archangels, then it would make sense that there are other beings within the hierarchy of angels that are also associated with dragon, because they have come in to hold the template and the frequency from the top down and from the bottom up. So if they're holding places within all of the different strata, then there's going to be dragons in those different places. So I do feel and believe that the Seraphim are dragons, that they emanate and hold in the angelic realms that specific frequency, so that others who come through from the base layers, and maybe that's just look at someone as an example who's first and foremost human, they're born here, their body perishes, they move on into the etheric planes, they might choose to go into another body, or they might stay in the etheric planes and learn about love, or learn different choices, and maybe they're in a darker place and they sit and work through karmically what they've done there. So if they're moving up through the ranks, then there has to be higher strata already developed for them to move towards, to expand into. So that's where I see the structure being held in place above in the higher potential frequencies of this realm. And I do feel that this realm has the potential to go up to the 22nd octave. And it is my understanding that is at the 22nd octave that they can actually bridge to the 22nd octave, which are the heavenly realms of other realms. So if the dragons can come through the 22nd octave bridge into this high realm and maintain that balance from there down, and the other dragons came in through the triangulation down of energies to the third dimension and are holding place in the templates of the planet, which they are, and holding in the grids, which they are, then it's also holding from that base. So it's like being sandwiched between these wonderful dragon frequencies and what they hold and carry for us as templates, so that we can grow and expand within that for those that are specifically human or part of this realm, birthed from this realm. So that's with the Seraphim. Now my understanding with the Elohim has also come around. It's so interesting that I had this realization just last week before this question came, and I thought, isn't that interesting that now that I'm able to talk about this, the question comes so that I can actually talk about it more publicly and have other people come to that same understanding or remembering, really. I do know Elohim, those beings that they're known as the creator gods. They're known as those beings that have mastered the ability to also create or co-create and create worlds, create universes. That in the beginning, all creations can be from God, but then if we are in the image of God and moving into expanding into that, then wouldn't there be the potential for that permission to eventually be given to those to experiment on their own of what could they create? And maybe they create within worlds, but I do feel like the Elohim are those, it's like a strata above what I consider the archangels, because they're of a more cosmic, larger playing field within this universe. Knowing Elohim, being in contact with them, and knowing that some of them are dragon, as my relationship as dragon with them unfolds, I do feel like it is possible that the Elohim aren't all just of an angelic nature, which would be a human nature expanded to that. I feel like they come from many different realms, and so indeed there would be those that would be dragon. I would say predominantly, just because of the age of the dragon realms, that they've probably mastered the most over experience to be at that level, or to be granted that access, but I'll be honest, I'm not positive. But I don't know if we'll actually know or fully realize that until we encounter those realms directly again, or get back to several strata below where we can access that information fully. And then the final question that he had was, of all this forms Spirit took, and I love how ponderous he is in his questions, because he's obviously spending a lot of energy really looking at, how do these templates work? What is this? I have this information over here. How does it fit over here? And such an encouragement for all of us to do that on our journey. Of all the forms Spirit took, what is the significance of Spirit taking a dragon form as an individual soul? So that to me is sort of asking, well, why do you think God created dragons as a form? And I think we could contemplate it all day, but I don't think we'll ever know unless we go ask God directly. And in my heart is saying, because it was what inspired me. Because it was a beautiful expression of power and wisdom and love, and it's what came out of me in my breath the first time. But then all these other potentials came out, successively in all these different realms, the rainbow realms, the earth realms, the middle earth realms, the Devic kingdoms, all the star being clusters. There's so many different creations that to understand why a dragon format was created, I think it's just like our imagination. What would we create if we had a piece of blank paper, or if you imagine, you sort of look at like, wow, if I was God and I was sitting with a blank space that's not even a universe yet, what would I create? And I would create an expression that most mirrors my qualities, or draw up something random that, what would it like to have beings that could fly? And maybe there were beings that could fly before there was anywhere to fly to. I don't know, but it's fun to contemplate. And I feel like it's one of those things that if we hold out there to the universe and to Mother, Father, God, that eventually we'll get to the place where we can hear the answer. So, not that I'm dodging that question, I just feel like I don't know if we can know the answer. Sort of like knowing, getting inside someone else's head, and how do you get inside God's head, other than going through the heart and inquiring and allowing the information or the insight to come. So hello to Mary and Linnell, and I've seen a bunch of comments scrolling by, so I'm just going to look back through and see if there was a question there, because it looked like along with Hey Araya and Dragons, I was told I came from the Elohim branch. Missed this first bit of the question. And hello, that's Andrea. So, Andrea, go back and listen back to that. And play with what I answered. Play around in your consciousness and your heart with, wow, if I came from the Elohim branch, where does that put me in my experience? Because we all emanate from different realms and have come in branching through different places to get here, especially all those that are star beings that are here in service as light workers, those that are dragon. And even when I talk about the dragons, knowing and understanding that the dragons aren't all from the dragon realms. My family is. I am directly from the dragon realm, but there are dragons within the rainbow realms, and maybe that was when that got created, one of the first beings there, because it was familiar and noble, and it's like, yes, I like this representation of mine, and then what else could I make that's winged? Oh, this Pegasus, and what if I take the wings off and I put a horn on, and here I have a unicorn, and all these other beings and expressions come out of that. And then going and creating this realm over here, that there's so much in this possibility. And I think in understanding the branching and how we've all come in service at this time to help this place elevate, starts to wake up within us. The closer we get to connecting with our full true self of who we be in that light body and merging with that we start to remember the places where we've had experiences, and those beings that might have been born as starseed and yet have incarnated as dragon somewhere can start to remember that. And then we sort of understand the network, and that we all are in it. Really, we've been created to learn about love and to express it through ourselves in different ways. And what a beautiful space to come into this realm where all of these different expressions of creation are now, this is the meeting place to weave the network and the fabric that allows really God to see itself in all these expressions interacting and showing love in all these different forms. And what a beautiful expansion that new realm is going to be when they are all interplaying. Exactly, Andrea, fun and play and creation. I think that's really God's modus operandi, fun and play and creation, all through the heart space. So great questions, Ryan. I really appreciate you sending those in. And everybody else, if you have questions, please send them, because I love coming and talking to you guys every week. It not only gives me heart joy to connect with you and feel you on the calls and feel the vibe that happens, but feeling the transmission that goes out from me to you, from my heart space, to lead you forward, to break open some of those things that are maybe holding you back on your journey, or to show you there's new tools. But I'll be honest, some of the questions do also allow my heart to contemplate and remember the answers. And if I haven't stopped to ask myself that question and someone else asks it to me, then it takes me into another level of expansion for myself. So I love that this particular question about the Elohim came right after my own sort of delving into that and allowing myself to understand within a connection that's been very ancient for me. So hopefully that brought you some interesting aspects or things to contemplate, or just a beautiful hit of energy for the day to boost you through the rest of this semi-chaotic morning. There's a lot churning in the energy field right now, and just bless yourself and take a time out. Allow yourself to stop and rest. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next week. Always so much going on. Really excited right now working on the lair. The lair is my part of my site that's going to be all of the dragon treasures that are going to be available, from pendants to statues to there's all kinds of beautiful things. So I'm excited to dragon friends, having little dragon friends like this, which I'm excited to be able to send out to those that feel called to them to hold a specific frequency, to put a transmission in specifically for each individual as those packages go out. Linnell, you're welcome. I wonder how it will be between now and the new moon. There's going to be a lot churning, it feels like, in the next 10 days, 2 weeks. I know that we've got some big global pieces going on. I'm part of a group that's doing, started with a big Africa healing and is now moved into a more global piece with the children and bringing the human trinity of mother, father, child into balance, bringing up and churning out a bunch of the densities. So I feel like as that gets released and worked through, that a lot of beings are being called into that space right now, which means there's going to be another level of reset. And honestly, Linnell, between now and August, it feels like it's going to be a continuous reset, be still, churn, reset, be still, churn. That there's so much to move through between here and where we need to go, that we're consistently rebooting to a new frequency standard. So it's just coming now to compare it sort of to a new operating system, like how many of us get very, very frustrated, I do, with updates on your computer. It feels like it's like every week. Like, really, there's a new update? Oh, now I need a new operating system? How many have I gone through since I bought my computer in only 4 years? Right? And I'm just realizing, like, that's exactly what our system is going through right now. We are upgrading operating systems on a weekly or bi-weekly basis right now between now and August. So I love that the computers and the internet just keep giving me examples today of how to talk about the new space that we're in. And we all know what operating systems are, and that's literally like the reboot. Get the new operating system downloaded, shut the computer off, reboot. Oh, there's a new operating system, some new updates. Download it, restart, reboot. It's that whole system, and that is, I love that analogy that just came in with the computers, because it's so right on of exactly what we're in, and being able to honor and shut the computer off. Just restart it. Might take 20 minutes, might take all night, might take a couple hours. So love you guys, love being with you every week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.